Making an episode of a live-action show is a lot like baking a pie. To make a good one requires equal parts hard work, time, and love. If you succeed, you'll create something great to be enjoyed by everyone. But if you are missing even one of the key ingredients,
you will fail, and it will burn,
leaving a lingering scent. My name is Pie Guy Rules, and I'm here at the bottom of the bakery to smell that pie. Metaphorically speaking, of course. In reality, I'm here to talk to you guys about an episode of a Schneider's Bakery show that was really not good. It doesn't get much worse than today's topic. There are episodes that have bad morals unintentionally. There are episodes that intentionally have bad morals for the sake of comedy. And then there's this episode that is so full of hate that it actually portrays a form of cyberbullying almost completely straight for the sake of comedy. The bakery took a rhubarb tart that was made with very sour lemon juice and went ahead and burnt it out of anger, and a clear misunderstanding of instructions. Before we talk about the main problem with this episode, let me get my other complaints out of the way. First of all, the show starts with an iCarly webcast where apparently Carly and Sam decide to just play Fred clips. They're pretty long clips, and Carly and Sam aren't commenting over them or adding anything in, and it's very clear they didn't talk to Fred about this. So what, is this show saying it's okay to just blatantly steal clips of things from other places without offering any sort of commentary or anything over it? Well gee, isn't that just a little bit hypocritical considering their stance on taking down any copyrighted material they see, even if the person is actually adding something to it and making it transformative art, or reviewing it or spoofing it? The next smaller complaint I have is that Spencer's subplot involves him shaking what is a magic 8-ball and then blindly following it to do stupid things. This particular version of the magic 8-ball is a magic meatball. You know, like the one on Rocko's Modern Life. This isn't even any sort of shout-out, they just literally stole that concept. But worse than that, it's just how stupid the plot is. You can get away with this kind of stupidity in a cartoon like SpongeBob, but when you have a character this stupid that's a parental guardian over another character, I'm sorry, I just don't buy that. There's being weird and quirky, and then there's just stupidity. And it's not like it's used well either. It's just totally random. It makes Spencer eat ketchup and buy an ostrich because herdy-der. Also, I find Fred's treehouse setup to be entirely ridiculous. Yeah, cause Lucas totally needed a sweet editing setup to edit Fred. Also, if we're to believe this treehouse, apparently he storyboards out the Fred videos. It's about as believable as the chart he pulls up at the end of the episode on iCarly's view stats. I give this show some credit for occasionally getting things about being on the internet correct, but a lot of times they are way off on what it's actually like to make web content. But you know, they do get one thing disturbingly correct, which leads me to the big problem with this episode. The thing that makes this downright uncomfortable to sit through. Freddie says, live on iCarly, that he isn't a fan of Fred's videos. He doesn't bash Fred, he doesn't insult Lucas, he doesn't say anything aside from that he doesn't believe the videos are funny. And then Sam and Carly rag on him for it. But you know what? That's okay. That's what friends do. They rag on each other for not having the same opinion. It's just a little friendly teasing between friends. Whatever. You know what's not fine though? Fred making a video saying that he's quitting making videos specifically because of Freddie on iCarly. We find out later in the episode that this was all part of Fred's magnificent scheme to get them more views. You know, by not including the iCarly gang in on the whole plot and blatantly lying to his audience to generate more views. Wow, what a great person Lucas is portrayed as. Now, I'm not sure whether the writers are aware of this or not. Heck, for all I know, it could be directly based on this. But the AVGN and the Nostalgia Critic had a war with each other. However, A, they were both in on the gag. B, the videos that they both made against each other were clearly satirical, and they were never trying to actually fool their audiences into thinking they hated each other. And 3, they did not explicitly do anything like cancel their show and blame it on the other person. Getting back to the iCarly episode though, before the gang finds out that this was all of Fred's master plan, Freddie goes into school the day after Fred posts his video. Everyone violently and mentally harasses and bullies him. Characters physically push him to the ground, and the laugh track plays. He gets fired from every single team he is on. It gets to the point where Sam, well, of course Sam, but even Carly does not want to be associated with him and is actively blaming him for the events that have transpired. Yes, let's blame the victim of a targeted bullying attack. And all the while, Freddy continuously states that he does not hate Fred. He is not bashing on Fred. He does not care about anyone else's opinion on Fred. He has not said or done anything mean or cruel or mean-spirited or anything against Fred. He just expressed his personal opinion in a very polite tone. And you know what? Even at the end of the episode, when they find out this was part of Fred's scheme, Sam physically harms Freddy right in front of Lucas just to make Freddy say that he likes Fred's show. She physically beats him up so badly that he is forced to not be able to tell the truth. And all the while we get Thank you so much, whoever edited this episode, for throwing that laugh track in there. Just so I know that you weren't actually intending to portray this as horrible. But you know what makes this all a million times worse? This is something that actually happens. This episode would be bad enough if this didn't happen in real life, but unfortunately, it does. All it takes is a celebrity saying one thing against somebody, for a few insane members of their fan base to go and do something horrifying that celebrity never even expected could happen. When you gain any sort of following, you have somewhat of a responsibility to know that your followers believe you when you say something, and will actively take measure against someone if you say something bad about a specific person. This is why I don't specifically state a lot of members of the team that worked on episodes that I review. If I give out their Twitter handle and explicitly say, this person created this horrible show, or did this horrible thing for this show, or wrote this horrible plot for this show, some of you might go on Twitter and harass the guy. And there's a big difference between criticizing the media someone makes and actively attacking the human being. But fans, especially younger ones, don't always know the difference between criticizing a person and criticizing the work of that person. And that's why, as someone with any level of following, you never want to point your fans at a particular target and say, go to town on them, because your fans will not always do what you expect them to do. And that is the lesson that Fred should have learned in this episode, because he specifically targets Freddie Benson as the reason why his show is ending. Of course, he wasn't telling people to violently beat up Freddie, but he should know that he has a large fan base, especially with kids, and pulling a stunt like this will definitely cause some harm to Freddie. Oh, but it's okay, because as Fred says, since this feud has started, iCarly's views have gone way up. Yes, because that boy getting physically and emotionally brutalized is worth more views. Who cares about walking into school and having everyone hate your guts? It's all about them views. Oh, what's that? That's not okay? Oh, no, this episode's okay because Fred apologizes at the end. Oh, wait, he apologizes to Carly. He apologizes to Carly, not to Freddy. No, Freddy gets beaten up while this is happening by Sam. Fred apologizes to Carly. And while, yes, Carly should be apologized to because she did get a little bit of the harassment, Freddy was the one he threw under the bus. Freddy is the one he should be apologizing to. This episode could have been a nice morality tale about what happens when a content creator with a lot of popularity targets a single person and unintentionally causes mobs and mobs of people to harass them. Or how about a tale on how it's very important to respect other people's opinions and that you should stand by opinions you believe in no matter how much you're beaten down. But instead, it is a stupid farce that plays it all for laughs. It's so freaking funny. This episode is sick. It is uncomfortable, unfunny, and disgusting. Just like that burned rhubarb tart. This is one of the most uncomfortable episodes I've ever seen in my entire life. And I didn't even mention how much time in this episode was devoted to saying how great Fred was. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Whether you liked Fred or didn't like Fred, it's a stupid internet series that a kid made for fun. It is nowhere near the pinnacle of great comedy. The fact that all the people that made this episode that have spent hours upon hours getting degrees and writing scripts and doing all sorts of other things in the industry are just bowing down to this one kid who made this one web series is pretty dang stupid. Pie Guy Rules, out.